Go.
Hey everybody, this is Pastor Will here at Shades of Grace, downtown Kingsport, Tennessee, and this is
Jimmy
with the world famous Will and...
Let's try that again.
Okay, let's start all over.
All right.
All right. Okay. Hey everybody, this is Pastor Will right here at downtown Shades of Grace, Kingsport, Tennessee. And this is the world famous Will and
Jimmy Show.
Hey Jimmy, we got it right.
We did.
We only had to try once, or twice I should say. Okay, first retake.
That's all right.
Okay.
Sometimes it takes more than that.
It does, yes. I just said, Jimmy, you think we can get 30 minutes out of this tonight? But we'll see what we're doing here.
We'll find something,
Yeah.
I'm sure. We got a lot to talk about.
Yes, oh my goodness.
To talk about.
And we got a whole lot not to talk about too. If only you knew what goes on behind closed doors at Shades of Grace.
Yes.
You know, it's just the most interesting place. And anyway, Jimmy's got the right shirt on tonight.
Yeah, I sure do.
The Will and Jimmy Show.
It's about time to get some new shirts.
Okay.
You know, because I know that mine are starting to wear out. So I'm sure everybody else out there that's wearing them too, they're starting to wear it.
So what's our next brand going to look like?
We don't know just yet.
Oh, okay.
It's still kind of out there in the open, but
all right.
It's going to be different. It will be different than this one. So.
Okay.
But soon and very soon.
Soon and very soon. Okay, Jimmy. And by the way, we are expecting one or two people to come to the door or to be here during our recording. So if we do, Jimmy will just slip away and I'll keep talking. How's that?
Well, it's just us here.
It's just
we're
us
the only
here now. Yeah.
I've got the phone with us today because we're expecting some important things, but some good things in the works of people who are homeless. And,
yes.
You know, let's talk about one of those.
Go ahead.
Start that. You know, it's no big secret. A lot of the homeless community spend some time in jail for different things. A lot of minor things, really, you know, that you wouldn't think of. But anyhow, someone come to us about a week or so ago, a lady, probably in her mid-50s, I guess, and had just got out of jail, been there just long enough to lose her Social Security benefits, for there to be a pause on that. So when she came out, she realized, you know, it had been paused, and she needed a document from the jail to be able to get that started back up again. And you know, they're very busy at the jail. They're short-staffed like everyone else. It's really hard to get someone on the phone. So we couldn't get anybody on the phone, but we have an officer who works with us a lot through Sullivan County Sheriff's Department. Very nice lady. And we were able to reach out to her today. And all I was asking was, hey, do you have a contact? Who do we need to contact? And she said, better yet, I'll just go get that document for you and bring it to you. So by the end of the business day today, this lady will have that document, be able to take it to Social Security and get her income back again.
And that's one of the persons we're expecting here momentarily.
So that's a very important thing because, you know, she really needs that income.
And I remember you made the comment just a little while ago, it's not always what you know, but it's often who you know.
Who you know.
That will just recognize your name. And you know, these officers go above and beyond their call to try to help many of these folks avoid incarceration, to try to help them get their paperwork done and their reports in and all of this. I mean, they really do try in a very difficult situation.
Very difficult because, you know, it's hard enough for me to keep a calendar of all the things we have going on, but just imagine if you're on the streets, you're suffering with mental illness, addiction, all the above, you know. How can you remember when a court date is?
And you don't have an office to keep anything in, you know.
And how are you going to get there when that comes? So these officers, it's a pre-trial division, and there's 2 or 3 officers that work just in that department. And that's what they do. And they always say, when they come here asking for someone, they're not in trouble. They're not in trouble. They're not in trouble.
We just need to keep them.
We're trying to help get them where they're supposed to be, so they don't get some kind of foolish charge. You know. Yeah.
Okay, so
that was a success story, and I know the lady came back by, and I was able to share the good news with her. So she's excited to get that taken care of.
I saw that.
Yeah.
Okay, Jimmy. Well, let us know what the big news was over the weekend here at Shades of Grace.
We did have something big happen this weekend.
On Saturday.
We had the world premiere.
Yes. History-making event.
Of the Shades of Grace Choir.
Yeah.
And we've attempted that in the past.
It didn't work.
Many years ago.
Yeah.
And it never could come together for different reasons. And did you know I was part of that?
Okay.
I played guitar.
Yes, you
and I
did.
did a couple of those practices. That was a long time ago.
But we never were able to actually perform even one time in the services. So.
No, but we didn't know how many people were going to show up, if any.
Right.
It could have been 0.
Yeah, it could have.
It could have been, but what, 17?
Well, I counted 17 people. And then actually, as we were rehearsing it prior to the 10:30 worship, at least one of the persons from the streets, Andy, came in. He was riding his skateboard down the street, one of the young men we've known forever, and he came up on the stage and sang with us. And he had to move on before church started, but he came up and sang, and hopefully I'm going to see him in the choir again.
Yep. But when we did the practice, I was amazed at the sound that came out from the choir. And as you said, many people didn't know the 2 songs.
Well, I think Landon and I were the only 2 who actually knew either of those 2 songs. And maybe a couple of people had heard them before, but then they didn't have the words. We didn't give them paper words. We had them on this screen, but that's quite a distance from there. And some of the folks said, well, I don't have reading glasses or I can't see. And then occasionally, sometimes we have those precious folks who cannot read. They can't read. True. So, I think they just did a beautiful job. And then if you go back and listen to our Saturday service, we opened up with a gentleman singing How Great Thou Art. Was it How Great Thou Art? No, The Old Rugged Cross. The Old Rugged Cross. Yes. And did such a beautiful job at that.
Very good.
And he's a gentleman who struggles, and it was just wonderful to see him participating in worship that way.
In his struggles, he has mentioned to us before that he used to sing in quartets.
And I believe that.
I believe that.
Yes.
I do believe that, because he's got too good of a voice to not be able to.
And he can be really confused and off the page in so many ways, but when you start the piano, or if Landon walks in, is playing and singing, it's like he reverts right into that music, and it's in the heart.
Right.
And regardless of what's going on, he sings, and he's got a beautiful voice.
He does.
Yeah.
A very, very strong voice.
Yes. So that's great.
Yes.
We're just so thankful to see this.
Hold for just one second.
Okay. Is this your commercial?
This is a commercial.
Okay. Someone at the door and the phone ringing at the same time, and maybe it's the same person doing both. Is that a possibility, Jimmy? Okay, so while Jimmy is answering the phone, and while Steve has gone to the door, we will share with you that you are invited to be a part of our Shades of Grace choir. And we're going to rehearse this Saturday morning again at 9:45, and it'll be 2 different songs this week, but we want you to come. Is everything okay?
False alarm.
False alarm. Oh, okay. Well,
false alarm.
Well, there is someone at the door, right?
But Steve's
got that. We can't see. We have a wall here now. We cannot see to the front door from where we are. We're secluded over here, so we can't see that direction.
So that keeps our attention.
Yes. Otherwise, there's people constantly knocking at our door, or looking in or peeping in the windows.
It'd be hard to keep focused if we didn't have that. Yeah.
But anyway,
so I walked in. What were you talking about? The
invite
choir?
people to the community choir.
Yes. Yeah. And it's. I'm kind of in awe of how great it was.
Yeah, it was.
And if you haven't heard it, go back and watch. Earlier today's Tuesday, I put a post on Facebook of one of the 2 songs, so you can kind of get a feel for what it's like.
Yeah.
And you're not right in front of a microphone. You don't have to sing a solo. Everybody's singing together. So come on, join us.
Come and join us. Make a joyful noise.
Right.
Yeah.
So that was good, and a good crowd for the service.
Yes.
Very good virtual crowd on Sunday as always.
A good spirit. It was just a good place to be. As the psalmist said, I was glad when they said to me, let's go to the house of the Lord. Now, a lot of times I don't like what they have to say, because often they don't have a name. Yeah. It's just like, we heard this, but in this case, when they said, let us go to the house of the Lord, that was good news.
Good.
And I'm always glad. Aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
I'm always glad to be here.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right.
What else we got going on?
Well, I wish everybody could see our new look here in the studio.
Well, we shared
Yeah,
a picture.
the
later,
picture,
but
yeah.
It's a whole lot
Maybe you
different.
could show that again this week.
Yeah, I could do that.
Because it may be just a little bit different now.
Yeah.
With,
And I did move this around a little bit.
Okay,
I don't know
yeah.
if you noticed.
yeah, we'll get another shot of it.
Yeah,
and Jimmy can
we'll do that.
show you what we're looking at. So, really looks professional.
Yes,
Yeah, it really does.
Looks like we know what we're doing.
It looks like we know what we're doing. Yeah.
But some more good news.
Go ahead.
Monday, we had our health screening
Yes.
that we do every
Yes.
2 weeks. Normally it's on Tuesday. This week's scheduling had to switch it up to move it to Monday.
Oh, that's
but,
right. Yeah.
The odds were against us on Monday because, one, it was raining.
Right.
And typically rainy days are kind of slow foot traffic.
Rainy days and Mondays
That's
always
right.
get me
and
down.
it was a
right?
month, so that's a triple
Yeah,
threat.
yeah.
And then it was also a holiday.
Holiday,
It was
yeah.
Juneteenth, but we were able to provide 32 persons with a health screening.
Right.
And I think that is wonderful. That's
That's
by
our
far the
record
most.
number so far.
I think 15, 16 was
Yeah.
maybe. So we doubled that or
Yes.
close to it. And, lots of people came in to do health screenings, blood pressure, sugar
Yes.
checks,
Yes.
to get follow-up care appointments made. And we also had some nurses that work in the social field
Right.
with housing and other social needs that people need. And we had 4 different areas set up
Yes,
here
we
in the
did.
building. And it was a constant rotation
Yes.
through the building all day for that whole health screening.
And with all of our extra things that we do with people coming in the shower, volunteers working back and forth with the food, taking it to the door. So
Yeah.
it's a very busy place most days.
It is. It really is.
Yeah.
Yesterday was no different.
Right.
And then after the screening, we did the memorial service
For Jean.
for our
Yes.
friend Jean. And it was a really good. No one came for the service.
Right.
And that's understandable.
Right. That's not the first time that's happened.
It's not the first. It's been a while, but it's
Right.
not the first time. But, somebody asked me yesterday evening about when I was outside of here about that and said, "Well, did y'all just cancel the funeral?" I said, "Absolutely not. We did it as if 100 people
Yeah,
would have
because
been."
we really knew there wouldn't be anyone here other than, well, I'll tell you, Jimmy was here, Landon was here, I was here, and Lloyd was here. That's 4 who were working yesterday in the building. And then just as we were starting, and Landon was getting ready to sing his first song, a lady came to the door, and she needed to see you, Jimmy,
Yes.
about some housing or something that she
Yes.
needed some work with that you deal with. And I said, well, we're getting ready to start this service, and there's nobody here except us, but if you'll come in honor of Jean's life and sit through the music and the message of the funeral, then you can talk to Jimmy. And she did.
And she did.
And she came in and wiped tears from her eyes, and I believe she was touched. Thinking about being totally alone in life and not having anybody.
Can't imagine.
But we gave Gene a service that I believe would have surprised him, and he would have thought that it was fit for a king.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's often what we're called upon to do. But, God knows him. God knows his name.
And, he had
it's okay.
came to me back in August of 2022
Yeah.
to obtain a birth certificate and I guess he'd been 85, I guess, or maybe what?
He was
86. He'd been 86.
He would have almost
yeah.
86 then.
And I'm not sure what he needed the birth certificate for at 86, because he wasn't homeless.
Well, I can tell you what he's wanting.
Okay, what was it?
He's talked to me so many times about wanting to move somewhere where the weather is warmer.
Okay.
And he found out somehow that I used to live in Florida, and most of the things we communicated with, we had to write down because he could not hear. And so we would write down, and he would ask me questions, and I would write it down on the paper. And he was wanting to move to somewhere in Central or South Florida, into a place that was cheap enough for him to afford, where the weather was warm, because at that time he's 85 and 86 years old, and I guess the winters are just too tough.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
we never were able to get him to anywhere like that, but he's found a home now.
We weren't able to get the birth certificate. The communication was so hard because, not only did he write down and I would write the reply back, he would get very confused in
Right.
the writing, especially if it was numbers. So maybe there was some dyslexia or something
Right,
of that there.
Right.
And we were never, when you apply for a birth certificate, you have to have
Exact.
a lot of information.
Yes.
It has to be exact.
Yes.
And it also, what throws a lot of people for a loop is at the end of the process, it will ask you a bunch of security questions to verify your identity, and they're very random questions. And they make it to where it's only something you would know.
And when you're almost 87 years old,
And
how much can you remember?
And like, for example, it'll say, which of these addresses have you lived at in the past? And it will give you 4 or 5 addresses, and none of them may be correct. It can throw you like a trick question. And when you're trying to write down all these different addresses, I mean, and especially with his age, that's really hard.
Yes.
And I'm sure we missed the mark there somewhere, and that's why it wasn't approved. And he never, I think since that happened, I maybe saw him come by twice. I'm
Yeah.
sure he came by more.
Yeah.
But I never had a chance to talk to him to say, hey, let's work
Yeah.
on this. We
Right.
just didn't have that opportunity.
Well, and he used to come back before the pandemic to the ladies' Bible study on
with Sandy and
Tamisha and the others, Marilyn and whoever came then, Penny before she passed away, and
Right.
Judy and all those. And he would come in, and because they usually had food, they usually had refreshments.
Right.
And Gene would come in, and knowing full well that he couldn't hear anything that was being said, but there were people here, he felt safe here, and there was food. And we are known as a safe sanctuary, and we want to try to always be a safe sanctuary for all people. For anybody who walks in these doors, they are off limits when it comes to harassment, discrimination, bigotry, anything that's going to put a label on someone. It is off limits.
Right. And
Right.
if you think that kind of stuff doesn't happen in this city,
Yes,
you're wrong.
it does happen.
I'm going to pause for just a second. Okay, we're back.
Commercial.
Another false alarm.
Yeah. Steve is answering the phone
Yeah.
at the back at Jimmy's desk now.
Yeah.
So anyway,
So
that's life at Shades of Grace.
It is.
At least mine hasn't rung yet today. I probably
yet.
jinxed it.
You did.
Because yesterday, right in the middle of the funeral, my phone rang,
Yep.
and it was another pastor
Yep.
needing something, but I thought I had turned it off. And
Well-
to be honest, I hadn't, so let me do that right now. Let me put it on, I am on silent mode.
There you go.
Okay.
There you go.
All right,
Now it won't ring.
good.
But anyway,
Okay,
so we've got another event coming up here soon.
What have we
Talking
got?
about your health, we do have the vaccine clinic.
okay. When is that?
That's sponsored by ETSU.
Yeah.
That's going to be on Wednesday, the 28th,
Oh,
from
that's a week from today.
9:30 to 12:30.
Okay.
And if you come, and the vaccines have changed a little bit.
Yes.
There's no longer first shot booster. It's now a
Single annual shot.
just like the flu shot. If you come and get your vaccine, what do you get?
A PALS certificate, yes.
Yes. $5 to go to PALS.
Yeah, and we gave away 32 of those yesterday or Monday for our screening that we did.
32 times 5. I'm not going to do that math, but
Yeah.
that's there you go.
Yeah.
So that made a lot of people happy. I bet
Yes.
PALS was busy yesterday.
I bet they were. Yeah,
Yeah. So
So-
that's Wednesday the 28th.
okay.
Vaccine clinic. So
And we did what, 6 or 8 the last time they were here? So
I think something we're running there. Yeah,
and people
that's
seem to be a little more open to that right now.
right.
To,
Right. So much, just like with anything.
Yeah, a little
So
more
much
familiarity.
It's
Yeah.
misinformation, and
Right.
people are scared. And
Right.
I don't particularly like to get a shot. Do you?
That didn't bother me.
But I'm not a fan.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan
Well-
at all. But do you know who the first person was to get the vaccine at Shades of Grace? It was me.
You.
Yep. And
Yeah.
I was on the news.
Yeah.
You can see the big needle go.
Oh,
They
okay.
zoomed right in on my arm.
That's right.
And you can see that needle just go. I was like, oh, did I do that?
Okay, I'd forgotten about that.
Yeah.
Okay,
I
so-
was number 1, and our friend Matthew Cash was number 2.
Okay, all right.
And even had somebody with me that day. I won't mention her name, but she said, and she was very much on the fence about the vaccine. And she said, well, if you'll get it, I'll get it.
Okay.
and she did too.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, you mentioned Matthew. Hey, Matthew.
Yeah.
Wherever you are, I see you occasionally with your dog. So God bless you. We hope you're
Yes.
doing well, okay?
I hope you're doing well.
Okay. So what else we got happening, going on?
Well, we got a holiday coming up around the corner.
We do?
We got July the 4th.
Oh, gosh.
That'll be here before you know it. And
Well, let's see,
then,
we've already had Memorial Day, Juneteenth,
Yep.
and now coming up July 4th. All of that within about, 5 weeks?
Seems,
So
yeah.
that's
And it
okay.
has flown by.
I'll take it.
It has flown by.
Yeah.
And then right after the 4th, we have the start of Fun Fest.
Fun Fest, okay.
And that comes into play here because the parade is
Oh,
the
we're
official
right on
kickoff.
we're right
of
on the Ground Zero
Yep.
route of the
And we
parade.
will be set up again this year outside with cold water and
Yep.
some snacks and souvenirs. And we'll have, as we said, we'll have chairs lined
Yeah.
up.
Now, we don't know how cold the water will be.
It was cold last year. It was really cold
Okay,
last
good.
year.
All right, good.
We had a big, we went through, I think, about 120 water bottles
Did
last
we?
year.
Okay.
And I kept them out there in ice.
Okay.
It was nice and cold,
All right.
and people really appreciated it. And everybody was like, how much? It's free. No, really, how much?
Yeah.
But it's free. It's a
Yeah.
gift from Shades of
Anything we
Grace.
do at Shades is always free. I mean, there's nothing for sale at Shades of
And
Grace.
people, we put plenty of chairs out, but people thought they were reserved.
Yeah.
So we had, people were sitting on the sidewalk and, hey, have a chair, but by the time that the parade starts down Food City, Clinchfield area.
And it goes
further
all the way
downtown,
up Center.
And it comes up and turns up here at Sullivan and Center and comes back down.
Yes.
So we kind of get the end. So
Yeah.
if the parade starts at 6, it's about 7 before it actually makes it here.
Right.
But you still have to get here early because it
Right.
filled up quickly.
All the
last
streets
year.
are blocked off.
Yes.
But that's a good time for people children to play and, folks catch up on their friendships.
Everybody was having a good time last year.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and we'll try to live stream that again this year, like we did last
You
year.
did a great job with that
Yeah,
last
it
year.
did get shut down though. Remember
Well,
that?
somebody came by and played
They were playing their radio
the music that
And,
wasn't,
like it was copyrighted.
Yeah.
You know the song "We Will Rock You," like that they
Yeah.
play at the ball games.
yeah.
Well, somebody came back. There was a group of Jeeps, a Jeep
Yeah, I
club,
remember that.
and they were playing that song real loud. And Facebook said,
Can't do
and
it.
they shut us down. But hey, you know what we did? we started
Switched.
it. We started it right back up,
Yeah.
and everything was fine.
Right.
So we'll do that again.
Okay, and let's see, we want to try to talk about another Friday Night Live before long, and I believe maybe that Oscar has been approached about that.
Well, on Facebook, you have your memories that come up every day. And just a few days ago, it was 3 years ago, I was here in the building recording Oscar and his daughter Heather.
Yes.
And I thought, wow.
On this date?
Yeah, 3 years ago. And
Okay.
I thought, wow, it's been that long ago.
Okay.
So I tagged them in a post to put a little pressure on them and said 3 years.
And that would have been
is way
during
too
the middle
long.
of the pandemic, wouldn't it?
It was in June of 3 years ago.
Yeah, so,
And we record, but it was one where we recorded
Right.
with nobody in the building.
right, we were
It was
trying to
just us
still
three.
hold on
Yeah.
to some semblance of regularity, I
Yeah.
guess.
But hey,
Routine.
I got a feeling here soon, the Shades of Grace Choir might be able to do a whole Friday Night Live
Hey,
on
wouldn't
their
that be
own.
great? Yeah, that'd be
That
great.
could happen.
Yeah, we can
That
do
would
it.
be good.
Yeah, we'll do it.
So if you're in our choir, you heard it right here.
Yeah, and we're open to that, yes. Okay.
I think that's, as good as they did for the first try.
Yes.
2 songs they didn't know. It's wow.
Great, yes.
It's amazing.
Exactly.
So, and then also, anybody out there who wants to share music, we may do like a
Open mic.
open mic type
Yeah.
of thing. And when and it can be, if you're afraid to be on camera live, we can always record it. If you make a mistake and you wanted to edit it out,
When
we can
there's-
always
right,
do that.
and there is no one else in here, you won't feel quite as nervous. One other thing,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was going to say, we edit more than people know.
Well, that's true, we add it, we cut and paste before they cut and pasted it.
That's right.
But,
Anyway, yeah.
and redact it.
Yeah.
But I was going to say, thinking of that reminded me of Pastor Regina's Bible study.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
you can come out here every Wednesday at 1 o'clock until 2 o'clock for a Bible study. Pastor Gina's an excellent teacher.
She's wonderful.
And we're recording that in the building, and then Jimmy uploads it, and it's available to you or to anyone who wants it in a podcast to listen to.
Right. Only as a podcast.
Right.
So that's an exclusive.
Not on the camera.
Not on the camera, it's just
Strictly-
a podcast.
Yeah.
And I think that helps get people to go over and listen to our other podcasts as well.
Right.
Because we also do our Saturday services and tonight's show.
Yes.
tomorrow is available as a podcast as well.
The Will and Jimmy Show.
And, somebody asked me, what is a podcast? Why would you want to do that? Well, if you're driving, if you're walking, mowing your lawn, you can just listen to the podcast. And I mean, it's a great option.
Yes.
And I do see that people are responding, especially with where Pastor Regina's Bible study is only available as podcast.
Right.
She's really getting the listeners.
Good.
She sure is.
All right.
And if you have a question about how to get to the podcast, let me know.
Yeah.
I'll lead you in there. It's very simple, very easy.
Yes.
If you have a smartphone, there's one app that you can download, and you can just type in Shades of Grace, and boom, there's all of our podcasts since we started that, which is probably 2.5 years ago or so now. It's been a good one.
Good. Okay, Jimmy, speaking of questions, we weren't able to get too many questions in the last couple of shows, so have you got some for us tonight?
Well, you remember, who were we talking about last week?
You were talking about Samson.
Yeah,
so I do remember
that's where we're going to pick up this week. Let's go ahead and let's ask last week's question again.
Go ahead.
To see if anybody knows. So this one, the theme was God's Man of Steel. Okay.
Superman.
So question number 1 was, when Samson's head was shaved, why couldn't he overtake the Philistines like the 3 previous times they had attacked him? And the answer was,
the Spirit of the Lord had departed
from him.
And it was because he had not kept his covenant, and he had revealed to Delilah that the strength was in him, it was in his obedience to not cut his hair as a Nazarene.
Right.
Okay.
And it says as a note that he had gave in to the lust of the flesh.
Yeah.
And that's why the Lord had departed.
It'll get you every time, won't it?
It sure will.
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so now let's start with the new questions. Question number 2. When the Philistines came upon Samson, what did they do to him?
Well, you mean in the very beginning?
Well, it just says when they first came upon him. Yes.
They bound him and punched out his eyes.
That's it. They gouged out his eyes.
Yeah.
That's it. Okay. Question number 3. Where did they take Samson?
They took him to the pillars of the temple, didn't they?
Well, it's asking like a specific location, and I'll give you the multiple choice answers here if I can pronounce these.
Okay.
Gaza.
Okay.
Hebron and Bethsaida. I guess was that.
Well, I was going to say Gaza.
It is Gaza.
Okay.
It is right.
All right.
It is Gaza.
The Gaza Strip.
Yes.
In today's geography. Okay.
Okay, and it said that where they had taken him to was 33 miles away from where. That's the distance.
Okay.
It was 33 miles.
Okay.
Okay. Question number 4. The Philistines put Samson in prison and forced him to do what?
To grind the meal and the corn. He was a man of great strength, so they used him as a brute beast, like they would a donkey or a horse, to tread out the meal. And it was just going around and around and around, grinding that millstone, crushing the bread and the wheat.
It says he had been reduced to what they call slave labor.
Yeah.
And that's what that would be.
Yeah.
All right. Question number 5, and this one has a bonus. Okay. When Samson was brought before a great gathering of Philistines to be mocked, what happened to the building the people were in?
Well, he was at this great building with the huge pillars, not pillows.
No,
pillars.
The opposite of pillows.
Of course, in Appalachia, sometimes we use pillars.
Pillars.
Right. But it was those huge columns, marble or stone columns, and he put arms around either column and pulled with all of his might and pulled the building down.
It was destroyed.
Yeah.
That's the answer. That's right. And your bonus is, this is one of those numbers questions. How many people were there to watch Samson be humiliated?
That I have no idea. I would say 700.
3,000.
So 3,000.
3,000.
Okay.
So, wonder if anybody out there got that tonight.
Okay.
I bet somebody did.
Somebody did.
3,000. So, yeah.
We've got some good Bible scholars. And I did find out that sometimes when we wait just a little bit between the question and the answer, some people know Alexa really well. And they'll ask Alexa. I've been guilty of knowing people who do that on Jeopardy on TV.
Yeah.
Is, Alexa, what is the, and sometimes you can get it.
Yeah, yeah.
But how many of you did get the answers tonight?
Yeah, I'd say we've got some people out there that didn't use Alexa.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Well, how are we on time? I know
I
you
believe,
took track of the time.
well, I know we started at 2:25.
So, yeah.
And we had just a little bit of a glitch in there, but now it's 2:55.
So we're
So we've
about
been on
right.
30 minutes.
Yep. All right. Well, that about covers it.
I
for
believe
tonight.
it does, yeah.
And thank you all for joining us as always. Be sure to share our service tonight
All right.
with all your friends on Facebook. And if you're on YouTube, if you're watching us on YouTube tonight, be sure to hit that subscribe button and hit the thumbs up. Let us know that you're watching. You can comment now. You know, for a while you couldn't comment on our YouTube
But now
videos.
we've reached a number.
We have reached that point
Okay.
where you can
So
communicate.
give yourselves a thumbs up.
Let us know that you're there with us on
Yeah.
YouTube. All right.
All right.
Well, that's
Bye,
it.
Jimmy.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.
See
See you Saturday morning at Shades of Grace, 9:45, if you want to sing in the choir.
Good night.
Bye.